Greetings, everyone. How are you? My name is Chef B, Dr. Natasha Bruley, but they call me Chef B. I am your lifestyle medicine health coach and your raw plus plant-based chef. And today I am actually excited about being here. I am going to be talking to you about why it's important to be a plant-based person during this time. I'm going to actually start off by sharing my story and a little bit about what I do, and then we'll jump into a very quick plant-based preparation, something that you might want to use for the holidays. All right. So, as I mentioned before, people call me Chef B. I've been doing the work of supporting people to transition to a plant-based diet for almost 10 years now. And I'll tell you a little bit about my journey and how I got here. I actually have always been very excited and interested in eating healthy, eating clean. I was one of those people that when you go into the health food store, I just automatically felt healthier being in the health food store. Just all these different products that I wasn't used to seeing. It was incredible. And so with that, I said, I'm going to really take time to invest in myself. And, I remember being in graduate school, gained a little bit of weight. And after I gained weight, I was like, I need to do some things. I need to step it up. And so one of the ways that I was stepping it up was going to the gym and all of that. I've always been one of those people that's been mindful about what I ate, especially after I left home and I started college. I remember being vegetarian, right? But not vegetarian in the healthy way. We were still eating French fries and a bunch of bread and, going to Popeyes and all of these places. But there was a consciousness there. So fast forward to me becoming, an older person in my 30s now. And I actually, was in a bad relationship. And I actually just finished up graduate school, starting a new job, depressed because my relationship was failing and all these things were happening. And I started eating bad. I started eating things that I know I had no business eating, like hot dogs, pizza, ice cream, just all the things that were just not serving my body well, and became pregnant. And back in the day, I don't know if people actually listen to this recommendation anymore, but when folks get pregnant, sometimes your doctor might say, "Oh, you're eating for two, so you can have a good time, eat some things." But that's actually not very true. You're eating for two, but you really want to be mindful about what it is that you're eating, so that you're not bringing harm to your body and harm to your expectant baby. But I was doing all the things that I shouldn't have been doing because I was in my emotions, just a lot was happening. And, when that's happening to people, they start emotionally eating. And so I developed hypertension, something called preeclampsia, when I was about to deliver my first child. And it was crazy. It was just a crazy time. So if you don't know, preeclampsia is high blood pressure. And so I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe all of this stuff is happening. All right. So everything went well, started shifting my diet and started working out, started doing all the things that I know would help me to heal and just be better. And, I was able to recover from all of that. Now we fast forward even further to 7 years after that, and I'm pregnant with my second child. But this time I'm in my early 40s. And so, for those of you who don't know, when you're pregnant and you're in your late 30s, 40s, you're considered a high risk pregnancy. And so, I had already been eating well, right? I've already been eating plant based at that point, but I would incorporate some fish here and there periodically, right? And the doctors are like, "Oh, you're high risk. You're going to have to get a cesarean like you did the first time." All of that. And I was like, I am not getting cut again. I don't think so. I'm about to do this. And so I really got strict with my diet. And when I say plant based, cutting out all of the crap, cutting out the fish, cutting out whatever that did not serve my body well, because I was determined. I was like, I am not going to have the same outcome that I had from my first pregnancy. This one is going to be completely different. And I mean, herbs, drinking and hydrating every day, meditation, yoga, you name it. I was determined not to have a cesarean section. And guess what? I didn't, right? Guess what? The plants did not fail me. All right. So I'm saying this to say, it's definitely a commitment to change your diet. And there's definitely a commitment to really bring more plants into your diet. But the research shows, right? The research shows that if you incorporate more plant based foods into your diet, from a health outcome standpoint, when you talk about some of the things we talked about, which was hypertension, even what you call hyperlipidemia, which is high cholesterol, diabetes, obesity. Many of those health outcomes can actually be reversed when you bring whole foods, plant-based diet into what you do, right? So we're not talking about the junk food. We're talking about clean, whole, plant-based food. All right. The other thing that I wanted to share is that in addition to just supporting people on that journey to transitioning to a plant-based diet, I also really strongly believe and support and work with people to incorporate more seasonal foods into what they're eating. And why is that important? So seasonal eating is quintessential. It's really going back to how we used to do things, right? Because if you think about it, there's not all the produce, all the fruits, all the vegetables are not available year round if you're doing it correctly, right? Because there's some things that grow only in the summer, there's some things that grow only in the fall, there's some things that grow only in the winter. And nature knows why, right? So if you live in a climate that's super cold and you're eating foods that are super, super good for you, right? Super, super, I would say in alignment with that particular season, what's happening is your body needs those things, right? Your body needs the nutrients that the foods for that season has. Similarly, like if you think about in the summer, there's a lot of fruits that are available that are very water-bearing fruits, right? Your watermelons, your oranges, your melons, things like that, right? And guess what? Those things are meant to hydrate us because in the summer you can actually lose a lot of water because of the fact that it's hot, it's humid. You can get dehydrated very easily. So seasonal eating is really, really important, and it's something that I want you all to consider. As you are shifting and thinking about bringing more healthy meals, healthy foods into your diet. Another reason why it's really good to eat seasonally is because it helps to reduce your carbon footprint, right? So right now, a big conversation that's happening around the globe is climate change, right? And just really we have to have a mindfulness about where our food is coming from, but then also how far does it take for our foods to get to us. And so if you are able to eat seasonally, more than likely you can actually eat locally as well. So I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm fortunate that there are so many beautiful urban farms. There's a lot of agricultural spaces here in the state, and we can get anything. We could get onions, watermelon, you could get you could get whatever you want right here in the state of Georgia because there's so many small farms that are really committed to growing foods that are in season, right? And we're committed to making sure that we have those foods at our fingertips so that we can really just maximize the season and maximize the nutrients that those foods give us. The other thing is what you want to know is that in regards to seasonal eating, it also really helps support urban farmers. So urban farmers, they don't make a whole lot of money because most farming is big ag, right? And so when you're talking about eating locally, eating in season, really connecting with a farmer that you trust, someone that's creating and making your food, that's like a radical, radical move. The more radical move is for you to actually grow your own food, right? But if you're not in a position to grow your own food, if you can connect to a farmer, that's incredible, right? That you trust that's going to grow your food, that's really what you want to do. So, y'all, I really want you to consider eating seasonal and really just taking the time to think about where your food is coming from, what's the quality of the food, what do you want to create for yourself as it relates to your health and wellness. What are you doing now? What are you doing now, and what's your relationship to food, and are there some things that need to be changed, updated, with just how you view food and the foods that you're eating? Are those foods serving you well? And I encourage all of you to just bring more plants into your diet. One, it's an opportunity for you to explore some new flavors, new tastes. It's an opportunity for you to get some amazing nutrients into your body. And it's an opportunity to connect with your family too. So when you are shifting gears and you're changing the things that you're eating, and you are in a family, you don't want to do this by yourself because it's really challenging, particularly if you've been used to doing things for a long, long time, a specific way. It is always better to have community involved to support you on that journey. And so, this is an opportunity if you're thinking about changing your diet to plant based diet, vegan diet, all of those things. And we're going to talk about the differences in another video. This is an opportunity for you to connect with your family and you guys go on that journey together. Because I'm sure that along the way, you're going to find out some really amazing things about yourself, amazing foods that you like, that you don't like. And it's just really a wonderful way for you to explore. All right. So, what I wanted to do today is I want to make you something that is a little bit different. It's similar. It's something that is familiar, but then I'm going to do it in a slightly different way. So I didn't mention, but I'm originally from Guyana, South America. And so, in terms of my style of cooking, it's very much, we call it Afro Caribbean Asian fusion. And the reason why I call it that is because where I'm from, Guyana, it's really like a melting pot of so many different cultures. There's the Amerindian or the Native Americans for this particular part of the world. There's also East Indians, there's Africans, there's Chinese. There are all of these different flavors that really show up when we look at our cuisine. And as a result, when you think about where those places are geographically, the original spaces for those, all coming into one country, all coming into one kitchen. I'm like, I'm not going to limit myself to just be Caribbean food. No, it's all of those Afro Caribbean Asian fusion. So I'm actually going to make one of my favorite things, but I'm going to do it in a very simple, simple way. So today we're going to make some Suya grilled mushrooms. All right, Suya, what's that? And it's Suya. Suya is an actual spice, and that spice is used in West Africa. So you'll find this spice used in Ghana, Nigeria, just really the West Coast. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to actually turn my camera down here a little bit so you can see. So this is, I'm going to show you what suya is comprised of. This is a very simple suya, but if you look, this suya is made from ground peanuts, right? So we have some roasted ground peanuts. We have a little bit of salt. We have some harissa. We have some cayenne pepper. And you can add other things to it. But what we're going to do is we're going to mix this up. We're going to mix this up really, really good. So what I did was um, I took my roasted nuts. And what I did was I basically just blended it into the food processor. All right. So this is my suya spice. You can actually blend this finer. You can use a food processor. You could use a blender, but it's really, really simple to make. And you can add a few other things to it if you desire. All right. So this is our suya spice. All right. So I'm going to reserve this to the side. And then now I have some mushrooms. So these are, we call this baby Bella mushrooms. All right, these are my baby Bella mushrooms. So what I'm gonna do with the mushrooms is I'm actually going to just cut them in half like so. I have some that I've already cut in half. So I'm gonna actually put this in that bowl. So I'm just gonna cut them in half like this. And then I'm gonna put this plate over here to the side, okay? So here we have, this is our mushrooms, yep. And I'm going to put this over here. Okay, and then I'm gonna actually bring my little beautiful skillet so that you can see it. And it's already nice and hot. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually sweat these mushrooms just slightly. All right, we're gonna sweat the mushrooms. And so I'm gonna add a little bit of oil to this pan. Okay, now, because this is a skillet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank up the heat a little bit, all right? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually add the mushrooms. We're gonna make sure that they're all facing down so that they can get nice and hot and crisp, like so. So y'all, I don't know about you, but I absolutely love mushrooms. So we kept this super simple today for you all, right? We kept it really simple for you today. This is one of my favorite mushrooms. I love these, my baby bellas, but I also enjoy eating more exotic mushrooms that, you know, not everybody talks much about. One of the mushrooms that I really enjoy is oyster mushrooms. Oyster mushrooms are wonderful. There's chanterelles. There's just all sorts of amazing mushrooms out there. But this one I really like for making skewers because we're going to actually do a Suya skewer. So I'm also using here a little bit of liquid aminos, just a little bit, not much. And what I'm doing here is just infusing some good flavor into the mushrooms. Okay. So I just want this to get nice and hot. If you don't know, mushrooms actually carry a lot of moisture. They have a lot of water in them. So we don't want to add water to this. We don't want to add too much to this, right? Like even when you're getting your mushrooms, you want to kind of brush any of the dirt that you find on it off. Because it's not real dirt. It's actually grown in a certain kind of soil that helps it to do its thing. But you just want to dust those off. You don't want to, you know, wash it. Because when you wash the mushrooms, you actually add a lot more moisture to it than you really need to. So look at these. Look how gorgeous these look already. All right. So beautiful. All right. So I'm going to actually turn the heat down a little bit. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add to this container my mushrooms. We're going to actually put them back in here. Right. We're going to put them back in here. But we just want to add that suya spice because it's going to stick now. It's going to stick to the mushrooms because we have the moisture out of them. Okay. Look at that. So I'm going to bring this pan back over. Okay. Let me put this here for a minute. Put it right there. And then we have our mushrooms. We got our gorgeous mushrooms. So I'm going to actually add the suya spice. Like so. And then I'm also going to add a little bit more olive oil because I want this to stick. So just a little bit, like so. And then I'm going to just cover this. So beautiful. Okay. Now you can, like I said, you can add a lot of different things to your suya spice. But the main component of suya spice is peanuts that have been grounded up. They call them ground nut in Africa, right? They call them ground nut. All right, so look what I'm doing here. I'm adding the mushrooms to a skewer, right? Look how pretty that looks, right? It has all that good flavor. And this is like a really nice, like if you're, for the holidays, if you're going to visit any family, friends, this might be something that you want to bring to your event, okay? So look at this. So we have a few on there. So that's one. I'm gonna do like maybe two skewers, okay? So look at this. So we have this one, just in case you missed it the first time. Add our mushrooms to our skewers. Now for this, you can also add some peppers, you could add tomatoes, you could do whatever you want, right? You can make this, you could dress this up real nice. It's up to you, but we're keeping it real simple today. All right, so we have our second one. I'm gonna actually do one more. I'm gonna do one more skewer just so that we have all of these done. get this on here. Look at that. And so, you know, like I said, this is the baby bella mushrooms, but you certainly could use your oyster mushrooms on here, make them nice and crispy. And then you add your Suya spice. And then once you add the Suya spice, you can go on ahead and use, just grill it off. Any mushroom would really do well because they all, once they start cooking, they have this really wonderful texture that kind of holds up to a lot, to heat, you know, to all of it. All right, so we have our skewers. I'm gonna rinse my hands off. Okay, I'm gonna move our grill back over here just so that you guys can get a close look. Then I'm gonna add this to the highest heat because really, this is almost done. We just want to get a nice crust, right? We just want to get a nice crust. So now let me show you our grilled mushrooms just on the skewer, what it looks like. And then what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna add it. We're gonna add it to the pan, just like that. Look how gorgeous that looks. All right. All right, so I'm gonna bring this camera up for a second while that's cooking. All right, and so, you know, when I think about plant-based eating, you know, another thing that I want you guys to consider is like when you say plant-based does not mean that you have to give up the things that you love eating. All right, so that's a big mistake. A lot of times when people are thinking about lifestyle changes, we have a difficult time changing our behavior. And so if we're used to eating meat, if we're used to eating, you know, foods that we really, really enjoy, and, you know, we're asked to shift a little bit, we think that we have to change everything. Now, sometimes that's required. You have to change everything in order to change everything, right? But when we say plant-based does not mean that you have to stop eating meat, you have to stop eating fish, chicken. It just means that you want to make sure that your plate has about 50% or more of vegetables, fruits and vegetables on it. That's what that means, okay? And it's an intentional decision that you're making for your plate and your lifestyle and the snacks that you choose to have fruits and vegetables. So we're not saying completely cut out everything. Oh no. We're saying just be mindful about having more fruits and vegetables on your plate. Okay? All right, now let's look at this. This is looking good. I'm gonna actually flip it. I'm gonna flip it. And then this one. Ooh. There we go. There we go. So these are almost done. These are almost done. Look at that. Gorgeous. Pretty. Now, you could actually cook this over rice. You could actually put this over rice. You can put this over couscous. You could, again, have this with a dipping sauce that you just serve like so. Just really, you can do whatever you want. The skewers are the boss. You hear me? Skewers are the boss. You can do so many cool things just having skewers. You can get a nice dipping sauce. You could drizzle it over there. You can have a side of vegetables. You can do so much. All right. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add this to our plate. All right. So I am going to grab this. Whee! I'm going to grab these. It's hot. Whee! And then just one. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna push this here. All right, and so this is it. These are skewers. So let me pull up the camera. All right, so we have our skewers. We could have, you know, we could always add more, but let me taste. Mmm, it's so good. And if you want, you can add a little bit more of that Suya spice. You can just dress it with some more of that Suya spice so that you really see that ground nut in there. You could totally do that. Let me show you what that looks like. So just imagine these stacked up on top of each other, all these skewers, super good. All right. Mm. All right. So plant-based. That's why you should do it. You should consider it. It's absolutely incredible. You will learn so much about yourself. You will learn how to prepare some amazing things. You will also learn some wonderful new recipes and wonderful new vegetables, wonderful new fruits once you start really kind of thinking about, well, what kinds of things do I like? What kinds of things do I want to, make for my family? So really, I want you to think of plant-based as a journey and an opportunity to just explore and just have a good time in the kitchen. So once again, I am Chef B, your lifestyle medicine coach and your raw and plant-based chef educator. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you all in the next couple of videos so that we could talk a little bit more about plant-based eating. And I'm going to eat my Suya mushrooms. Yum, yum, yum. And I want you guys to try this recipe, okay? And tell me what you guys think. All right, for now, we'll talk soon. Take care.